What's going on, fellow 40k theorists? Welcome back to the channel. I am KevBot, the guy who's homeless and has crazy hair. We're going to be going over the Adeptus Mechanicus detachment today, the new one that we got for Christmas. It's called the Haloscreen Battle Clade. So we're going to go over that today. It's pretty good, and AdMech have so much stuff going on now because they were really bad, and so they had to give them like 5 updates in order to make them playable. They're really good now. It's kind of a shame because I haven't really played AdMech very much in 10th edition, even though I have a massive AdMech army. I'm actually going to make a showcase video on that, just showing you guys all the different units that I have and all that kind of stuff. So make sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon. That way you can be notified when I make that video. So we're going to go over this right now. Our detachment rule is called the New Spheric Transference. I have no idea if I said that right. This is going to be a struggle for me. So this is what we get. In your command phase, select one or more units from your army, including units that are including units that are embarked within transports. That almost never happens. This should be added into the rituals for 1,000 Suns. It should include things in transports. Anyway, the maximum number of units you can select depends on the battle size as follows. So another one of these battle size pick unit things. So like Hypercrypt has this. Anyway, yeah. So this is what we get. Until the start of your next command phase, those units gain the Halo Override keyword. Then select one of the Override abilities below. Until the start of your next command phase, units from your army with the Halo Override keyword have the selected Override ability. When I first read this, I thought that you just got all 4 of them, and I was like, what the hell? But no, it's only one of them, and this is what we have to choose from. Electromotive energization. This is gonna be bad. Add 2 to the move characteristic of models in the unit. So this is really good. This takes things like our Ruststalkers to a 10-inch move. So that's our first one. Add 2 to the move characteristic of models in the unit. I like that. So you have 2 units in your army that can now be adding 2 to the move characteristic. We have micro actuator bracing. You add 1 to the toughness characteristic of models in the unit, and it's important to note here, you just pick anything. So it does not have to be Scutari, it does not have to be Adeptus Mechanicus or Mechanicus. It's anything. +1 toughness is pretty good, especially on things like robots, vehicles, things like that. Things that already have a high toughness that want to be a little bit tougher. Now you can do that. This makes your Ruststalkers toughness 5, which can go a long way against some anti-infantry shooting that tends to come their way, although most of it's going to be strength 5 and higher, so it'll help you a little bit, and that's pretty nice to have. We then have Predation Protocols, one of those 2. This unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn which it advances. Okay, so we can just have 2 units of Ruststalkers that are now advancing and charging, and that's pretty dope. Muted servo motors is our last one. Models in the unit have the stealth ability. Do you really need that if you're taking call? Probably not. But are you taking call? Probably not. So that's actually pretty good to have, especially on, again, this does not have to be Scutari units. This can be on your tanks. This could be on your robots. This could be on this could be on anything. So having stealth on 2 different units, being able to advance and charge with 2 different units, that one I think is probably the best one here. Yeah, that's just really, really good. So that's what we get. We then have our enhancements, and oh my god. Transocular Dryad Wafers? 30 points. Cybernetica Datasmith model only. When the bearer is attached to a Castellan Robots unit until the end of the battle, models in that unit have the Doctrina Imperatives ability and gain the Halo Override keyword. This unit cannot be selected when selecting units as part of the new Spheric Transference detachment rule. So you can't choose them for this, because they're already going to have it looks like. We're going to move on to the Cognitive Reinforcement. 35 points, Adeptus Mechanicus model only, excluding Cybernetica Datasmith. The Conqueror Imperative and the Protector Imperative are both active for the bearer's unit. Okay, so this is going to be on like your Cataphren Breachers and your Destroyers. It's going to give them both the stuff. That's really good. They're hitting on 3s, they have Assault, they're +1 AP in combat, like, they're really good. And maybe -1 to hit if you're near battle line stuff. What? So that is actually very, very strong. I'm not surprised that it's 35 points, because on specific units, that can be just horrific. Alright, so we have our Sanctified Ordnance for 10 points, an Adeptus Mechanicus model only. You add 6 inches to the range characteristic of ranged weapons equipped by the models in the bearer's unit. The whole unit. Each time a hazardous test is taken for the unit, you can reroll the test. Okay, that's interesting, because that means all your plasma stuff, plus 6-inch range, and basically never gets hot. That is very good for 10 points. That actually makes the destroyers, I think it's the destroyers. There's breachers, there's destroyers. The breachers are the ones that are good. The destroyers become interesting here with plasma, because now they are basically never failing their tests, and you add 6 inches to their range. The one above it's definitely better, because it gives you like 5 different abilities, just because of how it works. But the Sanctified Ordnance, that's going to really help a unit of destroyers with plasma, for sure. The last one that we have here is Inloaded Lethality for 15 points. Tech Priest Dominus or Tech Priest Manipulus is the target here. You add 3 to the attack characteristic of the bearer's melee weapons, and you add 1 to the damage characteristic of the weapons as well. This is interesting, because this means you go to like 7 attacks with a Tech Priest Dominus at Strength 6, AP 2, 3 damage flat. That's pretty good. For 15 points, that's on the low end of these kinds of abilities that give you like extra damage or extra attacks in combat. So yeah, basically, it's pretty good for 15 points. It makes you have 7 attacks at Strength 6, AP 2, flat 3 damage. That's just good to have. Now, let's move on to our stratagems. Looks like they're all 1 CP here. The first one is our Eradication Protocols. Does that sound familiar? Because that's been an ability they had for a while. So our first thing here is it's in your shooting phase or the fight phase. You target an Adeptus Mechanicus unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, reroll a wound roll of 1, and if it's a Halo override unit, you can reroll a hit roll of 1. It's pretty good. If you combine this with this enhancement up here, the one that gives the Castellan robots Doctrina Imperatives, that's pretty good. Because now they're hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s to hit. They're wounding on 3s, most likely, rerolling 1s to wound. Because they're a Halo Override unit, right? They gain the Halo Override keyword. Yes, they do. So that's pretty good. We then have our Targeting Override. This is in your shooting or fight phase. You target an Adeptus Mechanicus unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight, and then until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, an unmodified hit roll of 5+ scores a critical hit. Neural Overload is going to be the next one here. This is in your movement phase. You target an Adeptus Mechanicus unit from your army. If the unit is a Halo Override unit, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. Interesting. Select an override ability until the start of your next command phase that is active for your unit. Designer's note. This means that if the targeted unit already has the Halo Override keyword, it can be affected by multiple overrides at once, but suffers mortal wounds to do so. Alternatively, if your unit does not have the Halo Override keyword, it instead has the chosen override ability until the start of your next command phase, but does not suffer any mortal wounds, but does not benefit from the override abilities that are active. So basically, or take mortal wounds. Yeah, that's not bad. You can basically have a third unit that has abilities, and it can be separate from the one that you chose for the 2 units in your army. So that's pretty interesting. We could be like moving faster and then give something else advance and charge, potentially. So that there's some options there, and there's a lot to consider, so I'm not gonna spend too much time doing that at the moment. But that's pretty good. It basically gives you a third unit with a different ability from your detachment rule here. We then have Aggressive Impulse. This is 1 CP in your movement phase. You target a Scorpius Dune Rider model from your army that has not been selected to move yet. Until the end of the turn, each time an Adeptus Mechanicus unit from disembarks from it, if it made a normal move, that unit is still eligible to declare a charge. So basically, this gives you an assault ramp from a Land Raider. So you can pop some Rust Stalkers inside of your Dune Rider, right? I think you can do that. The Dune Rider could then move, you can get out, and also, if you chose that Dune Rider as one of these things, you could have given it +2 to its move characteristics, so just some food for thought there. So, what, 14 inches or so? 14 inches, get out 3, be able to charge, seems good. Then we then have Guided Retreat, 1 CP. This is in your movement phase just after an Adeptus Mechanicus unit from your army falls back. You target that unit. Till the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. If it's your Halo Override unit, you can reroll Desperate Escape tests for it. It's just a little thing they tacked on there. It's nice to have. But I very much like that, because Cataphoron destroyers and all these things with a lot of guns that don't want to really be in combat, destroyers do want to be in combat, or I guess the breachers do. So basically on anything that is going to want to fall back and still shoot and maybe even charge afterward, you got a strat for it now. Our last one is an Analytical Divination. 1 CP, it's in your opponent's movement phase just after an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move. It's going to be a reactive move. You target an Adeptus Mechanicus infantry unit, excluding Cataphorons, from your army that is within 9 inches of that unit and not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. Your unit can make a normal move of up to d6 inches, or 6 instead if it's a Halo Override unit. That's pretty cool. So my immediate thought here is I chose Advance and Charge. I put 2 units of Rust Stalkers into combat, and they wiped a bunch of stuff out, or whatever you wanted to do in this turn. You could have chosen something else instead, but the point is that you got into combat with something, you wiped it out, your opponent fell back, and now you can just move out of the line of sight. You can move closer to them to block them off. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. Reactive moves are very, very strong, so pretty nice. Overall, you got a lot of good strats here. This is very, very strong, and it's very flexible as well. This is great. This is great. This is really great. Giving this to Adeptus Mechanicus mod only, yeah, that's super good, because you can have a unit of breachers with all these crazy buffs on them. Heavy, assault, +1 to hit and shooting in combat, +1 AP in combat. All just really good stuff. So yeah, this is a very, very strong detachment, and there's a lot to unpack here, so like I said, I'm not going to go into like a whole lot of detail. I'm going to have to read this more on my own, kind of reference some of the AdMech stuff again, just because, again, I haven't really played it very much in this edition, and see what we come up with. I will say this is definitely a competitor to the only detachment that anybody runs in the AdMech, which is the one where it's all your Skitarii stuff, gains like stealth, and I forget what else, but that's a very good detachment because a lot of the stratagems that you have there are very, very strong, and the enhancements there are very strong as well. We finally have a competitor to that, and this might just be better. So, if you guys liked the video, Thunderhammer the like and subscribe button, hit Nurgle's bell, leave a comment, check out the other videos, and then check out the second channel as well. I swear a lot in there, and I get angry playing video games, and you guys should laugh at me because it's funny. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Theory hard, and I'll see you back at the lab.